Hi, I'm Ryan Wright.
And I'm Jerry.
Welcome to Reasons to See,
where we give you reasons to see.
And not to see, especially today.
The Hangover Part 3.
So let's get fucked up.
Salam, bitches! Oh. I believe I can fly. I love cocaine!
Cassie, I'm hungry.
Mom, I'm with a customer.
She's rude.
You hear that, Mom? Nobody likes you.
Yeah, keep your mouth shut!
Oh.
Reason to See number 1. There aren't any! Yeah, this movie, it sucks.
Reason not to see number 1. Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms.
Talk about the most bored looking people in a comedy I've ever seen.
They didn't have anything to do in this movie hardly at all.
Yeah, it seemed like they just wanted to capitalize on Zach Galifianakis and push them to the side.
I don't even dislike their what they did in this movie. It's just that they weren't given anything to do.
Bradley Cooper, I was so surprised by he looked like he was sick of this franchise. Here's him in like every scene. What are you doing? Why? Why are you doing this?
I almost feel like that's also how that character must feel, how Phil must feel. Just be like, you know, I should have known better than to go anywhere with you people. Like,
and Ed Helms too is people got annoyed at him for just freaking out all through the Hangover Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like they tried finding that level where he could freak out, but it wasn't too much. So instead it was just another bored guy in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because they don't. Again, it's like they didn't give him really that much to do, and there are a bunch of scenes where like stressful things start to happen, and then they just cut to 10 minutes later, and it's like, oh. Well, I guess they resolved that thing.
Reason not to see number 2. Chow. I'm a stereotypical Chinese guy. I like Chow in the first one, but he's only good in dosages.
Well, see,
you make him a main character, it's like, what the fuck?
And there you have hit the main problem of this movie, is that and Chow is one of these elements, is that it chooses to focus on things that worked the first time because they were in small doses.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you make all that stuff the focus, it all falls apart.
It's like some studio said, hey, people laughed at this, amplify it now.
Yeah. It's like, take all that stuff, regardless of why it works, and make that the focus of this movie.
And that is Chow, like that. It's Chow and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And with Chow, oh my goodness. He used to be funny. And now he's just this annoying, irritating brat who gets like a lead role in this movie. And then every 10 minutes is like, Chow, what's wrong with you? Chow, you're crazy. Chow, wow, this guy's out of control. It's like, we know. Haven't you guys accepted this about him right now?
Yeah, it's like you think you would get the, yeah. Reason not to see number 3. It's not funny.
Okay,
Yeah,
so...
man, this was kind of like Identity Thief to me. I was sitting there going, that's a joke. I'm not laughing at it.
I kid you not, I saw so many people walk out of this movie.
There are tons of jokes, there are tons of things that are supposed to be funny, but I was like, who wrote this? Because it felt like a 14-year-old wrote every joke. It's like, after a while it started to be like, oh, and then he's gonna do that, and then they're gonna make this silly joke, and then, you know, this... It's
and
like
then Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms are gonna be like, that's weird. That's strange.
There are some of the most, like, contrived jokes in this movie. The problem is it loses all the interesting edge the first movie had.
That's weird. I respected them for going for a different structure.
And it's darker, like...
Yeah. So it's a lot darker. Like, what's weird to me is this felt kind of like a thriller, but with Zach Galifianakis
like
and Chow as comic relief or something.
It's like a comedy has a balance, and there are different statuses, and you have your straight men, and you have your more comedic characters, and they're all funny to an extent, but when you take the most ridiculous guys and make that the only thing, it's like, what movie is this now?
Yeah, you can't franchise this plot. I feel like the only way they could have done this properly, because they shouldn't have called this the Hangover Part 3. Yeah. You know?
Well, yeah, nobody got hungover.
Nobody drinks anything. So the only thing that felt close to it feeling like the Hangover was the post-credit scene.
Yeah, well, because it harks back right to the first movie.
It's the only scene that feels like this is the vibe that should have existed for the last 2 hours. But if they went with that plot, that would have been a much more interesting movie. Because I thought The Hangover 2, it does follow the same structure as Part 1, but I thought I laughed way more at Part 2 than I did at this one. Split decisions! Zach Galifianakis. Zach Galifianakis, I have to admit, he was the one thing that had me laugh a few times in this movie. I wanted him to be on here as like, he's the one thing that might make you laugh.
There's one scene he has with a kid that I did like. However, he is one of the biggest reasons this movie doesn't work for me. I liked him a lot in the first Hangover, and I thought he worked really well in the dynamic that first movie had, and what happened is what I was afraid of what would happen, was basically that they would take that and be like, oh, people like Zach Galifianakis. Let's let that persona go nuts, and then you get Due Date, and then you get all these other movies he's in, sans the indie ones. This movie is pretty much about Zach Galifianakis going nuts and saying crazy things, and being the focus, and it's like it sinks the ship.
Ryan's consensus! There are literally no reasons to see The Hangover Part 3. There are literally no reasons to see The Hangover Part 3. I've said on this show that certain movies suck the biggest, fattest balls, but no. This movie has found those balls. The biggest balls. Opened its mouth and is now chugging away at the biggest balls ever.
Jerry's consensus. There aren't any reasons to see The Hangover 3. There aren't any reasons to see The Hangover 3. This movie just bummed me out, you know? It was tedious. I wanted to like it, I wanted them to figure it out, and they sort of colossally didn't.
It's one of the worst movies I've seen all year. Alright guys, thanks for checking out our show. Why don't you go ahead, scroll to that comment box below and tell us which one is your favorite one out of the Wolfpack, and which one do you consider yourself to be?
And if you want to check out more episodes of Reasons to See, go ahead and click this link right here.
And if you want to check out my straight to the point review of why The Hangover Part 3 sucks, click on the link right here.
And if you want to get updated every time a new review or a video is out, subscribe.
Click this box, motherfuckers!
Sound a little like Chow there.
Sound a little bit like...
Getting a little Chow on me.
Oh really? I was channeling my Sandra Bullock from The Heat.
You know who I missed is I could have really used some Jeff Chang in this movie.
Oh yeah, Jeff Chang would have been cool. They should do a crossover movie.
That would be fun.
The Wolfpack meets the guys from 21 and over.
Yeah, you know, I might go back one more time. You get those original writers back, you know.
Crossover movies are the thing now.
Yeah, right.
It's like you. There's only one thing that's done it, and now we want it from everything.
Jeff Chang versus Predator. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.